Afternoon, Matt. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. All good.
Good. And apologies for the late coming of cherry pickings this week. Of course, it's been a bit of a crazy week. We've had our win against Villa, but yeah, there's a lot that's been happening in the background. Nothing wrong with the channel. It's just some things that we've just had to overcome. So, firstly, let's talk a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. Find out what they can do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So, as you probably realise, there is no Mr. Rawlings, is there today? He's let us down on his birthday week. He's bloody useless. Where is he?
He's apparently today he's got a bouncy castle in the back garden. Today is what he's told me, and he said, "Did I want to come round?" I said, "Nah, you're all right. I'll leave that."
You
So
can imagine him.
He's in New Milton as we speak, jumping on a bouncy castle.
Yeah. So if anybody,
it's 36th birthday.
If anybody sees a bloke in a Bournemouth shirt bouncing up and down on a bouncy castle in the middle of the New Forest, that's Chris. That's Chris. That's Chris.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy week, of course, and we have made two really, really good signings in between that win against Villa. So, of course, Neto joined us from Barcelona, of all clubs. Looks good cover, doesn't he, really, for Travers? Or do you think he's going to really push and expect to be number one?
I mean, if you look at the history of his career, he has been number two quite a few times. I mean, he was number two to Mr. Boric at one time at Fiorentina when he was a bit younger. But he is at that age now where he's kind of in his prime. So I think he might give Scott Parker a bit of a headache in terms of selection choices. I mean, if I was Travs now, I would be knowing one slip up could cost me my place because Neto has got a lot of experience in big games, big leagues. International level, he's only been capped once, but in terms of actual league games, he's got a lot more experience than what Travs has got. But I think it's now it's gonna really, I think it will in the long term will improve Travers. But then again, Parker now knows that if he needs to make that change, he's got someone very capable to go in between sticks, which I think is vitally important. Like we've said before, Will Dennis, in my opinion, needs to get out there now and start playing games on loan somewhere to enhance his career. And Travers knows he's got that man behind him now, whereas if I slip up, You know, I'm not saying if he goes and concedes goals against City tomorrow, because City's a different kettle of fish. But I mean, if you're playing, you know, someone that's in and around us, and he slips up a few times, it might cost him his place. So, a, a real good coup for Bournemouth to sign a player from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Is a massive coup for little old Bournemouth, as they say.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing. And to be honest, I was talking about Alex McCarthy, wasn't I? I was saying, look, Alex McCarthy, you know, he's an option. He's local. You know, of course, he's been at Southampton, would make more sense. But I think this is a great signing because this is somebody who, you know, I think will push Travers all the way. And yeah, I'm well chuffed with that signing. Even more chuffed though with the following signing, which is Marcos Senesi. I believe that's how it's said. An Argentine international.
Mm.
Never thought one of those would sign for AFC Bournemouth. Don't
Yeah,
think we've ever signed an Argentine player, have we, before?
not to my knowledge. Apart
Hmm.
from the kiddie we had on loan from Roma,
Ah,
he
yes.
was an
Yeah.
Argie. But with him, I mean, what I tend to do as soon as we're interested in a player or we sign a player, I
Hmm.
get straight onto YouTube, and I think it was Monday he signed, wasn't it,
Yeah.
or Tuesday, and I jumped straight onto YouTube, and I mean, defenders shouldn't score goals, but some of the goals this guy's scored are disgusting. He shouldn't defenders shouldn't score goals like these. I mean, if you think Steve Cook's overhead kicks against Ipswich
Mhm.
was a fantastic goal by a centre back, then you want to look at some of the goals this guy scored. I mean, he scored overhead kicks, he scored bullet headers. I mean, there's one header where he's just flying through all the players. He's just like Superman. He's headed the ball, bullet. But I mean, he's not here to score goals. But I mean, the
Mhm.
tackles and the way he defends is absolutely superb. Um, to go inside, to go alongside the likes of Kelly and Meps, I think he could be the missing piece of the jigsaw. A few people have said to me this week he's left-footed. Kelly's left-footed. Is that going to cause a problem? I don't think
Mm.
not, because Sensei appears to be, I mean, a world-class player for me.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be similar to like Mr. Ake. When we had Ake, you knew he was different class, and I think that's how this guy is going to come in. If he starts tomorrow, I mean, you know, he's up against probably one of the best strikers in the world at the minute,
Mhm.
which would be interesting. But we can't judge him on just tomorrow's result or whatever happens tomorrow. We got to judge him across the season. And I think across the whole season, he's going to be a massive, massive asset to us. Massive.
Yeah. I think you know, I was well chuffed with how Mepham played. I've got to say that against Aston Villa. You know, there was me, and I've got to be honest. After that Brentford game, and I don't think he really did much the last time we were in the Premier League. I don't think he did much in the Championship, but he showed his actual quality on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I wonder, whether or not Sensei will get the nod ahead of him, or if they'll play in a back five again, but Lerma will go back to midfield. Lerma might even just drop out the team, which I
Uh,
think would be unfair.
I don't think he'd drop Lerma out of the team. He's Parker's done an article on him this week with the Echo, I think.
Mhm.
I think it was the Echo where he was talking about the language barrier, but how he understands football and understands what he wants from him. I think to take Jefferson Lerma out of the side would be mad. To be honest, if we had to play him in that role all season, he was very, very comfortable there Saturday.
Mhm.
Didn't look an inch out of place. Um, the icing on the cake on Saturday was obviously his goal.
Yeah.
Which at the time I was there thinking, Jesus, it's never good to score this early. But that was just the icing on the cake for his performance on that day. I thought he was absolutely superb in the middle of that back five, which obviously they played him there against Bristol City, and he won everything in the air that day. But as for Lloyd Kelly and for Mepham, I thought they both had really, really good performances. Every ball they were winning, side footing them away, getting their head on it, whatever they had to do. So, I mean, as a back five, I mean, I was very cautious of playing a back five at home, but it worked. And Parker will have a decision to make tomorrow, because I thought the inclusion of Pearson was surprising, but he dug in well. So do you drop a Pearson to put Lerma there, or do you drop Billing to put Lerma there, or does tomorrow does he go for a back five and a 4 midfield and just one up top tomorrow? Does he go damage limitation? So it'd be interesting to see what he does tomorrow, but I think he will go with the back five, and I'd be happy with whether he brought Sensei in for Mepham and left Lerma there. I'd be quite happy if he moved Lerma into the midfield and he brought Sensei into the middle of the back five, which would be quite interesting. But yeah, he's got a bit to think about. But I think in terms of the back five, whatever he does, it should be quite a solid back five tomorrow.
Yeah, I think back five does make sense, especially considering it's Manchester City. If it was anybody else, I would have said, right, okay, we could play, a little bit more attacking, a little bit more on the front foot. But Man City, let's be fair, and like when I spoke to David Mooney, the Blue Moon podcast the other day, he made a very good point that if teams go at Man City, they seem to pick them off even worse. So it's, how do you handle that? Man City do have their bad days. They have their off days. They've been beaten by Crystal Palace. They even got beat by Norwich, didn't they, one season? I believe.
I think they also got beaten by Swansea once, didn't they? Didn't Swansea surprise them one time? So I mean, they're not unbeatable. No side's unbeatable, but a side has got to really absorb a lot of their pressure. And I think maybe with a back five and and a front 4 midfield in front of them, you might be able to absorb it. It's just how long until they break you. And how many times can you hit them on the counter attack? Because you're going to need some real pace to hit them, and we have in the likes of Zamora, Smithy, players like that have got a lot of pace. But yeah, you're absolutely spot on, and the guy from the podcast, Dave Mooney, wasn't it? And I thought he spoke really, really well about City, and all his points were really, really good. And in terms of where he's saying, teams can attack and attack and attack. City would just let you come on at them all day because they know they're going to beat you on the break. They know 100%. They beat them and Liverpool will beat any side on the break in that division. So, I mean, it's some fans. Some fans I've spoken to this week have said that it's damage limitation up at City, and I would kind of agree with that. I mean, if we come home with the point, tomorrow night, everyone will be buzzing that we've got 4 points out of the first 2 games. So I mean, if we got a point up there, fantastic. I'd be a little bit disappointed if we got hammered. I know we've had a few sort of 5-0s, if you come away with the Etihad with a 3-0 win, 3-0 defeat, it's not great, but it'd be a bit of an improvement of the last few times that we've been up there. But I think maybe with a back five, we might have a better chance of maybe nicking something.
I think I can't see us winning the game at this moment in time. Anything is possible, but at the same time, this is Manchester City, and I think we'll be the first team in the Premier League to score against them. But I think, they'll probably beat us 3-1. That's my prediction. I think that's what it'll be. And to be honest, that wouldn't be disgraceful. It's how the only other thing that could possibly change it, and one thing that West Ham didn't manage to do, was how do you stop Haaland? How do you stop him?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I watched the City West Ham game last week. I spoke to a few West Ham fans this week, and they've all said that he could potentially go rampant against us. Bearing in mind, though, they had a right back, Johnson, playing centre back. They've got a few defensive injuries, and he did only manage to score the 2. But I think, it's one of them, isn't it? It's a new league for him. So he's going to be experiencing different teams, different types of defenders that he hasn't played against before. Would you be happy if we kept him quiet tomorrow? I think that'd be if we did. Wouldn't do particularly too well for my fantasy football team, but I'd be very willing to take the hit on Haaland having no points tomorrow, because he's going to have plenty of games throughout the season to get some points. So I'm hoping tomorrow he gets no points whatsoever. But he's a world-class player. He's world-class. City would never have bought him otherwise. How do you keep him quiet? It's a very, very good question.
I'm just thinking, and this was a thought, is if Pearson does play, in that centre of midfield and just tries to stick to him like glue, that's not going to be a sort of player that Erling Haaland has ever come up against. And
that will irritate him.
Yeah.
It'd be like a little Jack Russell nipping at his ankles the whole game. And there you go. Is it a case that he plays, Sensei tomorrow? Would have to drop either Solanke or Keiffer Moore, which is never a good thing to do. But sometimes you've got to do things for the benefit of the team. You slot Lerma back into that midfield. You keep Pearson there. He's nipping at his ankles the whole game, which he ain't going to like. And then, you got one striker up top. You got your wingers. Then have got to come in. It might be a game for Christie to come in. Somebody like that to help support the attack. With only that one man up top, but it would be interesting to see Pearson, a Pearson type player, go up against him, especially in the midfield battles. Because last week he was absolutely superb in that midfield.
What about Keiffer Moore just on his own up front? Because that was another thought. That target man. Rather Solanke, is quite creative. He will pull the ball back, he'll pass it in, but he's not going to get that much time. He's not going to be able to have that ball at his feet for a prolonged period of time. So Keiffer Moore is somebody who you can get it into the box to, and of course can hit it with a first touch or a second touch.
No, you're spot on. I remember saying to me brother, and my dad last weekend when we were walking from the game and obviously talking about the game we just played, and I was automatically thinking about City and what would I do for City, to build on that result. And for me, Solanke, we all know what he can do. He's a class player. But for City, for tomorrow, I think I would go with Keiffer Moore and bring an extra midfielder in personally, and have your wingers support your striker in the attack. Keiffer can hold the ball up. He can score goals. He bullies defenders. Solanke is a class player. And like you say, he does need sometimes a bit more time on the ball to create. Whereas we're not going to get much time to create tomorrow. So for me, I would personally start with a back five, 4 in the middle, and I'd go with Keiffer on his own up top. Like you say, I mean, Solanke, we know what he's done last season. I wouldn't want to drop him at all. I wouldn't want to drop him there after last week's performance, but it's for the needs of the team. And I think tomorrow, playing that formation with Keiffer up top on his own would probably mean we might get something out of the game.
Yeah, it would be nicking it, wouldn't it, really? And that's the thing, is against Man City, it is a bonus game. Of course, we did see there wasn't really that many surprises in the opening few games of the Premier League, but one team that did stand out, one team that I was predicting as bottom was Leeds, and they surprised me by beating Wolves.
Yeah.
And I know I've got a lot of criticism for this, but fair play to the Leeds fans and fair play to the Leeds team. But I still think they're going to be in trouble.
I think they're about to surprise a few people in the transfer window as well, isn't they? Because I've heard today that apparently Juan Mata, former Man United player, is set to sign for him for the season.
Yeah.
So that's a big coup. I mean, I know last week you were saying they've signed a lot of quantity but not quality, which I know we got a bit of grief for.
Yeah.
But yes, they did beat Wolves last season. Last weekend, we beat Villa last weekend. It's the first game of the season. It doesn't mean nothing at the moment, does it? I mean, it's a good start, and you want to build on a good start. But I mean, who are they playing this weekend?
I shall find out. Actually, I haven't really looked at Leeds, but I believe I might be wrong in thinking this, but
I thought they had one of the big boys this weekend. I might be wrong. I know United are at Brentford.
Southampton. The Southampton away, so they're not big boys.
So that could be an interesting game there. And would it surprise you if Leeds nicked a win there? No.
No, not really. Not really.
Not really. I mean, we might be completely wrong from our predictions. Our predictions we did last week was just, it's just a bit of fun. It's just our own personal opinion.
It's very difficult, really, to actually predict because, of course, we haven't had the transfer window yet. And once that closes, it could be a completely different scenario. I'm just looking at, as well, Brentford. I don't know if you're aware, but they're after or have already signed, by the looks of things, in Mikkel Damsgaard.
Oh, have they?
You remember
him?
Of course, another Danish player. And yeah, a midfield superstar. Come from Sampdoria of all teams. And I think that's some coup, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, but then some a lot of fans across the country be looking at what we've signed this week and going, "Oh, that's decent." I mean, Neto's no normal number 2 goalkeeper.
No.
Sensei looks to be a future full-time Argentinian centre back. Obviously, he'll be here looking to go to the World Cup. Are they at the World Cup, Argentina?
They certainly are. Yeah, Argentina are there.
So he's going to be wanting to get game time to get in the World Cup squad for that. So, I mean, that is an impressive signing Brentford has made. But we've made 2 impressive signings ourselves. And, I mean, the transfer latest with us is that we're still after a winger and another centre-back, which, to be fair, I think to bring another centre-back in wouldn't be a bad idea. Another winger, again, just adds to the attack, doesn't it? I mean, I don't think it's overly important, but I mean, for example, Travanair, Is it?
Yeah.
Fantastic debut. I thought he made
Yeah.
against Villa. Settled in really, really well. And the Premier League didn't really look like a shock to him, to be fair. So
Mm.
it'd be interesting to see how he develops, because he did look like a bit of a handful at times for Villa.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we're interested in a Blackpool player as well.
Yes. Josh
Josh
Bowler.
Butler.
Yeah.
So that's rekindled again. We were interested in him a little while ago.
Mhm.
So I mean, considering we've been right with what we've said recently, the transfer business hasn't been great, but this week it's picked up a gear,
Yeah.
and we may have a couple more signings through the door before the window closes, which then would, I think, will make everybody happy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, I'm well chuffed with Neto, well chuffed with Sensei. Tavernier, I was not really sure about
Yeah,
beforehand,
I
but
wasn't.
he was
I totally agree.
outstanding.
I thought his I thought I was kind of glad to see him chucked in for his debut, because then we
Hmm.
could kind of get a flavour of what he was going to be about in this league, and because we've all seen what he's done in the Championship for Middlesbrough, and he didn't seem out of place. He didn't seem
No.
like he really struggled with the step up. A lot of people, when the team was announced, we were in the Queen's Park Golf Club at the time, and
Hmm.
a few people sort of like Christie on the bench, or Tavernier starting, Pearson's playing. It was kind of like, what's going on? Completely different to what the people had seen during obviously the pre-season.
Yeah.
Um, but to be fair, Scott Parker got it absolutely spot on. And it will be interesting to see over the season how the team changes from week to week.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And I think, he has got a plan B this time, which he didn't have with Fulham. And, that's what is actually exciting me now, because I don't think we've seen all the business. I think there will be some deadline day signings. I think one of those might be Nat Phillips, which will mean defensively we will look very strong. And everybody's predictions of us finishing bottom of the league, it's all terrible. It's, I think a lot of those are going to need to be rewritten, don't you?
Yeah, hopefully so. But just like we had our opinions last week, everyone's entitled to theirs. So it'd be just better coming out the other side of it and proving everybody wrong. That
Yeah, exactly.
that's. I mean, Liverpool and Fulham last week. Obviously, that was a draw. Fulham fans will be buzzing. If you ask me, I still
Hmm.
think they're going to be relegated. Just a personal opinion.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Leeds won. Southampton got hammered.
Hmm.
You know, it's very, very early days, even for us. I mean, fantastic win. It's great, something to build on, but it is still very, very early days.
Everton this past week have been completely written off, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and you can kind of see why. Um, I know they've signed another defender this week, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Is it
Connor Cody.
Connor Cody on? Which I was surprised that Wolves let him go.
Yeah.
Honest, because he's an England international, and
Mm.
he must have had the conversation where you're not going to get the game time, because obviously he's thinking about getting into the World Cup squad.
Yeah.
Obviously Mings has got the situation he's got at Villa where he's not playing, and you've got Cody who's thinking, you know, I've been in the last few squads like Mings, this might edge me. I need to get game time to make sure I'm in that squad. So they must have told him at Wolves that he won't be a regular. And I mean, Connor Cody at Everton, with the likes of what they've signed already in the kiddie from Birmingham, never say his
Hmm.
name. He's got a
Oh,
Polish sounding name. It's been in the
yeah.
England squad a couple
Oh,
of times.
Tarkowski.
Tarkowski, yeah. So they've
Okay.
signed him.
Yeah.
Cody, they've got the likes of Keane there already.
Mm.
So I mean, he's going to be a good signing for him. But yeah, this week they've just been completely written off by pretty much everyone within the media. And even, our friend Harry has said that, Frank's got a big task about him with Everton. And could possibly make or break him as a manager.
Yeah.
World-class player, but doesn't always transition into world-class managers. But for Everton, you've got to be fair. They've still got the same amount of games as everybody else. So, there's,
it could. They might be all right, but I do fear for them this season.
Personally, like I say, that I think they're going to be, like me and Chris said last week, they're probably one of the 6 that will be in and amongst that battle.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what we're going to be is we'll do all the quiz, we'll do the fantasy league promotion. You'll probably be able to see down the bottom there as well. Well done to 11 bench warmers who are currently top of the fantasy league, run by Tim Smith, but also got to give special mentions to Paul Cox, Josh Hill, and Jay Hiscock as well, who all make the top 5. Although, are we missing somebody out there?
No. Mr. Cox has got 2 teams.
There
both,
we are. Paul
they're
Cox.
both 2nd and 3rd.
You are cheating. Well, no, that's fine. We'll let you off. We'll let you off, mate.
Yeah. Also, a special mention to a very good friend of mine, Mr. Jonathan Wigmore. Wiggy's Misfits, rock bottom in 32nd place.
Yeah, there we are. So yeah, Johnny, you need to do more, mate. Where were we? Whereabouts were we in the league?
Well, to be honest, I'm smashing you and Chris at the minute.
Are you?
Yeah, because I'm not.
No surprise, to be
I'm
honest.
9th. So if I'm 9th, that's saying something about you two. So we'll discuss that further next week when Mr. Rawlings gets off his bouncy castle and actually decides to come on.
Are we talking that I'm 1 above Johnny?
No, we're
more like Rawlings.
No, you're not that bad. You're not that bad, but yeah, you're not quite rock bottom, but yeah, I'm leading out of us 3. So
there you
thank
go.
you very much. But
I reckon Johnny's a Southampton fan.
No, he's not. He's a Man United fan.
Oh, thanks.
He's a Man United fan. I know it's tragic. Best man at my wedding as well. Best man at my wedding as well. And I even had to buy him a Man United shirt as a thank you.
A Man United shirt as a thank you.
It was disgusting purchasing one of those things.
Yeah.
I've had more fun purchasing Andrex.
Or Durex.
Or Durex. Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever tickles your fancy.
Well, on that note, I'll finish the show this week. We will be back with a normal quota next week. Mr. Rawlings will be off his bouncy castle. Even if we have to drag him on here, he'll be on the show. And we'll have lots more. And I'm sure we'll think up some sort of theme, won't we?
Yeah, I've got a theme, actually.
Here we go.
I've got a theme. Now, it would be interesting to see some old memorabilia that people have got out there. Because I've dug out one of these.
Yellow buses.
Yellow buses. Now, these were made, obviously, with AFC Bournemouth on the side there, when we signed the shirt deal for them to sponsor the away shirt as yellow coaches.
I'll tell you what, let me zoom in on that so everybody can see. That is proper retro, isn't it?
I think.
Is it the same on the other side as well?
No, it's different on the other side.
Oh, is it? What's it got on the other side?
It's got travel with the yellows, save money with a buzz card. Jesus, buzz card. I remember them. But yeah, they were selling them in the club shop when I was a kid. And I just thought it was, I found it the other day, just around the time when Yellow Buses announced that they were about to go bust. And I thought, oh, God, I'm glad I got one of these. Might be worth a little penny. But just be interested if anybody's got any interesting bits of memorabilia, send them to us. Let's have a look.
Yeah, and all the details will be on Twitter. By all means, send it to us. UTCIAD AFCB is the Twitter handle name. You can find us on Facebook, of course, as well. Pop it in there. And we will get it on the screen because it will
You'd,
be.
you'd have thought the Dorset picker would have done that, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, you would
I'm
do.
even doing a bit of Dorset picking, and he ain't even on it.
Yeah, I bet he will go and find something
Oh,
really bloody rare.
he'll find one better from
Or he'll
somewhere.
show us again his Funko Pop that's got made of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously. Who doesn't want a Funko Pop of the Dorset picker?
exactly.
Currently
But I
selling
don't.
them $4.99 each.
Yeah,
One.
I don't want one. I don't want one.
Chris
He's
don't
well
want one
blown.
either, really.
What's that?
Chris don't want one either, really. It's on his car boot this Sunday. If you want a Dorset picker, get yourself down to Paul Car Boot Sale. He's doing that Sunday, so go buy yourself a little Chris Rawlings Funko
Everybody
Pop.
be down there. But yeah, cheers again, mate. It's been great. But yeah, we will be back next week with a full show. So please do hit the like, the subscribe buttons. Go and watch all our videos. We have got Simon Day on, Mark Housey. Of course, we've interviewed lots of players as well during the summer. Vince Bartram, Paul Mitchell, Sean Teal. Harry, come on, give us his predictions. Yes, it is 2.5 hours long, but it is with Harry Redknapp with 20 varied fans, and doesn't involve just the same people. Not having a dig, but cheers, Cherries Red Army. But until the next video, up the cherries, and I'll see you then.